Hey, what's going on? Today we're going to cover keyword research for affiliate marketing, but really it'll sort of work for any sort of content site, even if you're going to run ads. Please let me know if you could hear me there in the chat, and hopefully you could see me. Hopefully the focus is okay too, because we're doing this 4K again, and generally that means we're doing manual focus, so I'm not going to move too much. Last week I sat back there and tried to do some other stuff, but today it's going to be more on screen, more demo kind of activities. And in fact, I'll probably be able to look up some keywords for you if you want me to, because I'm going to look for specific examples. Part of this is, figuring out your niche, and we're going to, look at specific keyword research tools. And I'm going to show you, it'll be over the shoulder, so to speak. So you're going to see exactly what I would do. I'm going to show you Ubersuggest, which is a free tool. Whenever I do a demo, people are they're very interested in the free option, and I will show you the free option, and then it'll be very clear why it's a piece of shit and you should just pay for a tool. If you have absolutely zero budget, you can use the free tool, but at the end of the day, you're going to be better off paying for something. Just the way it is. So then we're going to use my favorite paid tool, KWFinder, which is part of the Mangools suite of tools. And I really like it for keyword research. I still use other tools, SEMrush. I use Ahrefs, a couple times a week at least. Last couple of days I've been using it quite a bit, but I rarely use Ahrefs for keyword research. I do a little bit, but not very much. So thanks folks for hopping on today. We have Adversity, Shurik, David, and Bonnie. Bonnie, what's up? I haven't seen you around in a little while. Good to see you. And we're going to go through some of these different, ideas. And we also have Alex and Vishal. Wow, the crew is showing up. So much appreciated. We're going to do these demos and stuff. I'll tell a couple stories. I got to give a shout out to a couple sponsors. One, I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now, is Ezoic, and they have a new piece of functionality with the core web vitals in mind. It's called Leap, and it is replacing the site speed accelerator, which you can imagine accelerated your site speed. And we have these core web vitals rolling out. I think it's been happening for like a week or so, but you got the core web vitals June update here in 2021, and it's going to come out in two parts. So there's like a first wave coming out now, and then there's going to be a wave 2 in July. At least that's what I'm hearing out there. I've heard from some people that have more traffic, some people have less traffic, and we've been told wait and see, because sometimes your traffic will go up and then they readjust things, it goes back down. Sometimes it'll go down, things will readjust, and then your traffic goes back up. So don't take any crazy actions based on these few days, these early little bits of the algorithm update that's rolling out. So always keep that in mind. Honestly, you should do that anyway. You should just wait and see, because a lot of times these algorithm updates are tweaked and changed, and if you overreact, you can do something crazy. So anyway, thanks to Ezoic. You could check out their Leap tool. I don't know if we call it tool or an application, or it's part of the suite of functionality that you have over there at Ezoic. And if you're not running any display ads at this time, you should definitely check out Ezoic. There's a link in the description, in the show notes here, so you can check it out. Thanks to Ezoic and Leap. Check out their blog. They cover a lot of very helpful information, a lot of stuff around site speed, which is more and more important these days. All right, so let's get into some of the details about keyword research and choosing your niche. So just from a very basic level, because I think some people could be brand new, keyword research is important so that you can publish content on your website that people are actually looking for. And there are, different ways to do keyword research, and some people are going to refer to it these days as topic research, because we'll get into some of the metrics and details, but those metrics and keyword search volumes are estimates, and sometimes that throws people off, but they're estimates based on historical data. And just because we have historical data, it doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen in the future. So if you see a search volume, which we're going to utilize, we're going to talk about a lot today, it doesn't mean that it's exact. In fact, it'll never be exactly whatever the estimate is. It's just an estimate. So keyword research is important so that you could publish things that people are looking for. And you may have heard stories like this where they want to start a blog. Maybe they're into a specific thing that is, I'll just use my example. If you're into beer and maybe home brewing, just like me, then you would start a blog in that area, and you would maybe start writing articles about what you're working on, what you're doing, without even thinking about if anyone's searching for it or not. You're just writing what you're doing, and it's really more of a pure like blog situation, like the traditional thing where you're, all right, I see a couple people are asking questions in the chat, so I'll come back and I will answer some questions, but once I finish the keyword research. And actually, give me 1 second here. So just a quick note in the chat. No spamming. I have a very short fuse for that. So I've put you in timeout, good sir or ma'am, and just chill out there and I'll answer your question later. Okay, so we have and hopefully it'll be around keyword research, because that's what we're talking about today. Maybe choosing a niche as well. So the whole point is, if you publish content and no one's searching for it, no one's going to find your blog in general, and they're definitely not going to find it through organic Google search, which is a great place to get traffic because it's free. It's very targeted. If someone has searched for, best headphones for podcasting, and then that's what you wrote about, they're in the right spot. They are finding the information that they are concerned about. So basically, if you publish things that no one's searching for, then no one's going to find it. And again, you hear these stories often where people, they wrote in their blog for years and they never really got much traffic because they were simply writing about things that no one was searching for. So keyword research and using a tool like Ubersuggest or SEMrush or Ahrefs or fill in the blank, there's so many of them, and then KWFinder, you can make sure that you're publishing content that people are searching for. So with that said, I have spent a lot of my time in the affiliate marketing area, especially Amazon, and people may not want to work with Amazon specifically for various reasons. And I can tell you that the Amazon affiliate program has continuously sort of lowered the commission rates that they pay. However, I still think they're the best place to get started with an affiliate program because it converts really well. People buy things on Amazon. In fact, just last night, I ordered some fresh guitar strings. I was going to experiment with some new guitar strings on that shiny baby back there. And it's so easy. I ordered it on my phone. I got to look at reviews all on my phone. The friction is very low. They have my payment information. They have all that stuff. And sure, you can find other affiliate programs that maybe pay a higher rate. Maybe their cookies are 90 days instead of 24 hours, but it's just not going to convert as well most of the time. There's many factors, but Amazon is a great place to go. So that said, when you're looking for your niche, when you're trying to come up with some keywords, then it's great to go have a look over at Amazon because you can see that people are actually buying those products. And generally, as long as the cost of the product isn't really low, you're going to be able to make some money. So let's go look just at Amazon. And if anyone has a niche that you're interested in and you want to throw it out, put it in the chat. And then perhaps we will use that as the example. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll find something over here. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. And here's Uber Suggest, which we're going to check out in a minute. Then here's good old KWFinder. We'll look at that too. But if you're over here on Amazon, we could just kind of peruse and maybe find a niche, at least some products to search for. And by the way, I mean, this is product driven currently, but I'll let you know that we're going to be looking at some informational pieces of content as well. And thanks for all the people that just hopped on. We're going to be looking at some demos with keyword research tools, and we're going to talk about finding a niche. So I'm going to hop over here, and Sharik, I see you have a question, which I'll come to as well. Roshan says fitness. Tech Pundit says snowboarding. Alexander says water sports niche. Okay, so some good ideas. So let's kind of peruse a couple of these. So let's go to, and I can tell you, I'm slightly interested in the water sports niche just because it's hot around here, and I've seen people with stand-up paddle boards here recently. Somebody mentions doorbell, someone says guitar strings, and someone says drones. Man, these are great. These are great recommendations. All right. And David asks, is the Amazon affiliate program still worth it? And I would say rewind. I literally just answered that in the last 2 minutes. So either you haven't heard it yet, or you should just rewind. Okay. So we're going to take a look at, first, we'll look at fitness. So we got fitness. We'll just go generally to this zone, and we're going to see a bunch of different products. Especially when you look at something sort of, I guess, with a huge range here. There. Oh, let me put my video up at the top here so you can see me waving my arms around. There's a wide range of prices and different products because we've very generically put in fitness. So we have dumbbells with a whole stand. We have some sort of an electronic jump rope. It must count your jumps or something. We have this, some kind of a portable gym with a platform thing. There's a ball. There's some sort of a padded sports bra here, and some other things. We got Fitbits and fake Apple watches. That definitely looks like a fake Apple watch, and so on. This sort of weird ab machine where she's bending over in a strange way. Hope that everyone can see my screen. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm insane. All right, so we got a ton of different products. We have this fitness rack thing where you could do pull-ups, and it looks like you could put some barbells across there. I actually would get one of those. That looks pretty nice. 4,000 pound capacity. Yeah, that'd be good for like deadlifts and squats, some other stuff like that. If you had a bench, you could do some chest work. So, okay, so tons of different things here. Someone mentioned snowboarding. There's probably several more listed here. Hold on a second. Shaving razor. All right, cool. So the other thing I'm gonna look at basically I'm looking for something where I'm personally interested in it, and I don't know much about it. So I'm going to look for the water sports. And it's sort of timely for the folks here in North America, or the Northern Hemisphere. Not just North America. Okay, so we have WOW Super Slide. Wow, it's $150. Wow. We used to just get like a drop cloth, like plastic sheet that like contractors use to keep paint, and we would just slide on that, or like a tarp. We're pretty rustic. All right, so we have an inflatable kayak that looks kind of cool, couple $100, and let's focus on sort of kayak and those stand-up paddle boards. Oh, this looks cool. It is a towable tube. So this is kind of, when you're searching for a niche, have some fun. Look around. Like you may not be familiar with some of the specific things, but go see what's out there. See what's on Amazon. There's things that you didn't even think about. Like here's a towable booster tube. I didn't even know what that is. It looks like a little football thing, but it's something else. So, and quick note, water sports is pulling up a bunch of water sports bottles. So one thing you can do once, you found sort of an area you could look in, like this InTech Explorer 2-person inflatable kayak, you will see a sort of a section or a department that you can dive deeper into. So in this case, we have sports and outdoors, outdoor recreation. So it's kind of fitting in this area. And I'm actually looking for the department. I thought it was going to give me a little bit more with department. So let's see if we could find that. So we have sports and outdoors, but we really want to dive in. We'll just say kayaks for here and then see if we end up. So here we have water sports. So we navigated over to the water sports section, and now we have diving mask, snorkels, diving suits, regulators. So this is more in the diving and snorkeling section. We have stand-up paddle boards. We have kayaking, canoeing, water skiing. So the point here, and I know I'm diving in kind of deep, the point here is I didn't have any ideas when I showed up here. And some people recommended some things, so we're taking a look there. And then there's water sports, and I didn't have any preconceived notions on what we were going to cover. And then we just started diving in, and a person could focus purely on canoeing, for example, or just on tow sports and like TOW, not TOE, tow sports, where you're pulled behind a boat or some kind of water vessel. So water skiing, wakeboarding, and tow sports. Or you could focus on things that are in the ocean only. So, I mean, you can hone in on whatever you're interested in, and you could hone in on things that you want to learn more about, maybe that you want to get into. Or you could focus on the whole thing where you're just covering anything to do with water sports. It doesn't matter if it's in the ocean, lakes, rivers. It doesn't matter if it's inflatable or if it's something you stand on or you sit in or whatever. You cover everything. So that's the point here. If you come in with sort of an open mind, you look on Amazon, you start browsing around, maybe you're thinking, hey, I don't want to focus on Amazon. It's still a good place to look because each one of these companies, well, they want to sell that product. So even if you're planning on making a direct deal in the future with a specific company because you want to promote their product, or maybe with the stand-up paddle boards, maybe you find some drop shipping companies that would prefer to work with you instead of Amazon because they get a higher margin. They are able to control the supply chain a little bit more. So there's tons of opportunities, and I think Amazon is a great place to get ideas. So that's why we look there first. So from here, we're going to pick something to start doing this keyword research on. Now I'm going to pause for a second, start answering a couple questions here just to interrupt the flow and make sure I don't get too far behind on questions. Okay. So there was a person that I put into timeout because they spammed the chat. So thanks for refraining from doing that. But someone says, please tell me how to rank for the keyword digital marketing. And the sad news, friend, is if you're asking the question, how to rank for digital marketing, you shouldn't try to rank for it. You're not going to be able to do it. Sorry to break it to you. So figure out something else. That's not your area. If you're asking how to do the thing that you're trying to rank for, then, well, it's very recursive, circular. It's not going to work out for you, man. And I would say, try to find something a little bit different, because the problem, if you're trying to rank for digital marketing, you're going to be against digital marketers who are not asking that question. All right, what's up, Sharon? And someone asked about making powerful backlink strategies. So I've actually done several videos on that. If you just search on my channel, Sunil, you'll be able to find that. However, I can tell you that I have a couple videos and podcasts that are going to be coming up where I will be talking about some companies that I've tested out for guest posting and some other link building activities. Sharik says, you said your go-to tool is KWFinder. Can you tell me when KWFinder shows easy to rank or still easy to rank as difficulty, how much effort that keyword will require to rank? So Sharik, it's pretty much impossible to answer that with any level of accuracy, because every single niche is going to be different. The best way to gauge it is to look at the top 10, which is displayed right there in KWFinder. Well, I'll show you that in a few minutes here. And then you're going to be able to see how many links they have. You're going to see their SEO metrics, their domain authority, their page authority, citation flow, trust flow. You're going to be able to see all that information right there. So you can just sort of estimate, hey, if I have content that's similar quality, I probably need to get a couple more links than or whatever is listed there, and then you're probably going to be in the right ballpark. It's going to be off. It's not going to be exactly right. There's really no way to know. I think there's some randomness as well. There's randomness in play. Thanks to all the folks who recommended different niches there. That was good. That was very helpful. And then Shahed says, how can we trust the keyword tools when they can be way off? I.e., what is meditation shows high competition, but on keyword tools meditation, what is ranks for low competition? So how can you trust the keyword tools? Well, number one, if you can share an alternative, then I would love to hear it. I don't think you have another option. I think keyword tools are just that. They're keyword tools. They're not the only tools that you have. So if you do some keyword research and using a tool, and you have some general idea relatively on the number of searches for a given word versus another given word, then that'll give you some reference point. You should also go do research in Facebook groups and on Reddit and YouTube, social media. There's a lot of different ways to do research. Go to the library, see if there's a lot of books on the topic, what's written out there. It'll give you insight. So I think it's an issue when people don't use keyword research tools at all. And it potentially could be an issue if you only use keyword research tools and you think, oh, this term gets 48 searches per month. So if I rank for that, I'll have 48 people on that page because I ranked for it. Well, that's wrong too. It's just a misconception. And some of the tools are really accurate, or they show you an accurate number, but they're not actually based on like variables and components to actually be accurate. So they give you a great deal of precision. All the scientists out there know what I'm talking about. They give you a great deal of precision, but they're not necessarily accurate. So they'll tell you 48 searches per month, but they're just estimating. It's not exact. Now, your question specifically, what is meditation, shows high competition, but meditation, what is, shows low competition. Well, maybe that's a thing we could check here in a moment, but I think you should use your own insight, Shahed, where you realize, hey, meditation, what is? Well, that's kind of a weird way for someone to search for something, and it's probably, very rare that someone's going to search using that. But, it's the same searcher intent as what is meditation versus the, out of order way to write it. So use your own judgment. Use the tools as tools. It's not, the only thing that you should look at. And Jason's on. What's up? We're gonna hop through these questions and then we're gonna get into the demos. All right, Minaj says, I'm doing affiliate for a type of product used in different industries and you're having a lot of variation. Is that a good idea, or should we stick with a topic like gardening? Either one's fine. I can't tell you, which one to choose in your situation. So whatever, both models can work just fine. Lee says, getting into keyword research, does it should be more specific niche like micro niche site, or generic would be preferable? Generic is better. Ali, you probably haven't heard me rant on the micro niche site, but you shouldn't do anything micro. Like, why not give yourself the opportunity to grow? So focus on things that are more general. I usually say that people should look at the department. So if you identified a great keyword, it's like best kayak paddle for inflatable kayaks, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go after that keyword. Great. Don't just focus on paddles. Focus on the overall kayak, water sports area, or water sports in general. So don't narrow yourself down too much. All right, so I'm going to see if there's any more super relevant keywords here, or not keywords, super relevant questions here. All right, I'm just going to finish up really quick. So someone says, how can you monetize blogs in Spanish? All right, I think you're asking a kind of an odd question. Write it in Spanish. That's how you monetize it in Spanish. I think you want to ask a different question, but that's the answer to that. You want to rank in Spanish, monetize in Spanish, fucking put it in Spanish, right? Simple. But you can ask the question that you really are looking for. Keyword is ranked but not getting traffic. So check. Well, actually, this is a perfect example, right? So someone's like, I rank number 1 for a search term, but then you figure out that no one's searching for it. So it doesn't matter if you rank for it if almost no one's searching for it. So that's probably the situation. All right, and if possible, let's keep our questions around keyword research. We're getting kind of in the weeds here, and I'm about to start the demo. And moving on, I'll probably just skip questions that are completely irrelevant, like this one, Vishal. Comment backlink is still working and worth it? ? So you're probably not going to rank just based on comment backlinks, but it's a great way to network. All right, and Jacob, just so I can get through these, Jacob says, what's the average page views I get per article on your sites? I have no idea. And have I ever tried writing content without using tools to see how many views the articles get? No, I haven't. I haven't tried doing that. However, I can tell you that sometimes I don't use a specific tool to find keyword search volume. Sometimes I'll just use Google and Google auto suggest related terms. Sometimes I know it's a good topic idea and I'll write content on that, but I never have written content without using tools just to see what's going to happen. And Jacob, I'm actually curious, have you done such a test? I think the problem is, let's say I have done that and it worked. If then I went out and said, hey, you know what? Don't worry about keyword research. Just write articles and trust that traffic's going to come because it worked for me. That's not great advice, because for most people, that's not going to work. So I try to give advice and demonstrate sort of case studies where it can be repeatable, because it's really easy to just, share a story where someone did a thing and it's a complete anomaly. Sure, we can learn things from it, but I try not to present it in a way where I just say, hey, don't worry about keyword research because it doesn't matter. It hasn't, for me, it hasn't proved to be like effective to just like randomly publish stuff. And actually I have, some of my early websites, I didn't know how to do keyword research. So I was literally publishing content that people weren't searching for at all. And it didn't get any traffic. It didn't get any traffic. It didn't work for me, but I didn't know what I was doing. So, okay, let's hit some of these keyword research tools. We're going to let's look at the inflatable kayak area. So we're going to start with, what is this tool over here? Ubersuggest. So this is Neil Patel's tool. It does have free functionality. And again, people almost always ask about the free option. Hey, do a demo on the free tool. So if you absolutely have no money to invest and it is your only option, then you can check out Ubersuggest. I think there's probably some other tools that will give you some search volumes, but the problem with tools when you're not paying for them is you're very limited with the data. So I am just going to type in inflatable kayak, and then we'll see what we end up with. So we'll search for it, and it'll be very clear that there's going to be data hidden. All right. There's going to be some information that can be helpful, but there's going to be a lot of information that's just hidden and we can't get to it. So we have inflatable kayak, and then we're using a free version of Ubersuggest, which it tells us right here. And then we have 2 of 3 of our daily searches available. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial. And I would recommend that you check out the free trial for Ubersuggest or KWFinder or Ahrefs or whichever tool you want to use. They usually have some sort of a free trial. So sign up for it, use the tool. People will ask me, hey, which tool should I use? I don't care. I don't have skin in the game. It doesn't matter to me which tool you use. However, I recommend you pick a tool and then just keep using that one. You'll get better at using it. You'll kind of understand the difficulty scores, the competition scores that the tool recommends and provides for you. And then you'll have sort of a sense and hopefully develop some intuition about how accurate they are for your niche and for your site. So pick a tool, use that tool. Some people will say, oh, I love this one or I love that one. And it doesn't really matter. I am an affiliate for KWFinder. That is actually the tool that I use. And I think people can probably imagine I have been contacted by most of the research tools that are out there, and I have been able to use them, and I'm using KWFinder. So again, I don't care which one you use. So let's move on. We have inflatable kayak here. You get 3 searches per day over at Ubersuggest. We see that just inflatable kayak gets a lot of searches, 110,000. The SEO difficulty is 58. Paid difficulty is 100. Which we don't care about. That's sort of the advertiser competition. And then if we scroll down, we can see that, again, the free version of Ubersuggest hides the data from us. All right. It hides the data from us. If you sign up for the 7-day free trial, then it'll tell us more. But this sort of, it is unclear if this keyword was created and discovered in January 21 based on this kind of incomplete graph. So this is the big problem with the free tools. They just don't give you enough information. So you end up taking a longer time, right? So I could only do 3 searches on here per day for free. Well, that's obviously going to slow me down because I can't do more than 3 searches per day. So with that said, then you gotta pay for it. All right. There's no free rides. You got to pay for it. Check out the 7-day free trial. All right. Then we have other information. People click on SEO results, the age, the demographics. So again, we can't see information there. Keyword ideas. So now we're getting into more interesting stuff here. And we have suggestions, related, questions, preposition, comparisons, and they give us content ideas as well. So I'm going to click, well, you know what? If we click on related, then it'll give us some other information here. So we have best inflatable kayak. which if you're looking to promote products and sell things through your affiliate site, which is kind of the orientation that we're going to assume here, using a buyer's keyword is a very good idea. So best inflatable kayak versus just inflatable kayak or two-person inflatable kayak. So when you use best, it qualifies the searcher as someone who wants to make a purchase in the near future, which is very good, right? If your ultimate goal is to hopefully promote a product that someone's going to buy so that you earn an affiliate commission, then you want people that are actually interested in making that purchase. So kind of critical. And there's a lot of different ways to form it, but let's dive in here and just click on best inflatable kayak, dive in and see what happens. So we have best inflatable kayak. Is showing us the search results here, and we can see 9,900 searches per month for best inflatable kayak, and the SEO difficulty is 49 here. It does show us the Google search results, and it'll actually let you open these up. So we have Outdoor Gear Lab, we have Dive In, we have paddling.com, boardandkayaklife.com, and so on. And it gives us the estimated number of visitors. So the number one position is estimated to get about 3,000 visitors per month to that page for that given keyword, I believe. And it may be based on, so for this one, it's for the particular term. So it's possible that this page and all the other pages get a lot more traffic through other long tail keywords, ones that are different than just best inflatable kayak. It has 15 links is what this tool is telling us. The domain authority is 60, and there's 6 social shares. So just in general, I can see this is relatively competitive. However, we do see a few of these sites don't have a very high domain authority. So we have boardandkayaklife.com, it's at 19. We have AmericanPaddler.com is 18. So a couple of them are, relatively low domain authority. So that's interesting to know. So we have some data here, and what we're going to do, I want to hop over to KWFinder so we can compare some of the data that we see. And then it'll also be very clear that these different tools have different methods and different algorithms to come up with those estimates. One tool might use an 8-month average. Another tool might use a 12 or 18-month average, and they'll come up with a different number for the search volume based on that, especially if it's a term that is getting more popular or getting less popular. There could be some sort of inconsistencies, but in general, tools are going to be different. And I find that it doesn't really matter. Again, just use one tool, and then you'll know that maybe best inflatable kayak versus inflatable kayak, well, they're going to have something like a 10x difference in the relative number of searches. So let's go over to KWFinder. We're going to look for inflatable kayak, US, English, find the keywords. We will see a view, which I actually appreciate a little bit more. I like this view where we can see the SERP overview quickly right over here. So a lot of the same data is here, and we see for inflatable kayak, 118,000 searches per month is the estimate here. So if we remember back to Uber Suggest, it was 110. So these are actually pretty close. And with the scope, 100,000 searches per month, they're pretty close. I mean, they're relatively in the same ballpark. 118 versus 110. That's pretty damn close, right? About 10%, a little bit less. All right, so we have that data. Now, one thing I'm going to do, and I know basically you can have the same sort of functionality for almost all the keyword research tools, but I'm just going to filter over here on KWFinder. And I'm just going to include best so that we end up with buyer's keywords. I'm going to remove the search volume limitation, and I'm not going to put any other criteria in here. I'm just going to put in best. So we started with, quite a few keywords, and it's telling me no keywords for the given filter. So let me double check. So best, did I do anything weird here? No, I don't think so. Okay, so that didn't work. So apparently all the related keywords didn't have best in here at all. However, one thing that we do see is for specific models and specific brands like Ezoic Kayak, Sevilor, Colorado, these have very low KD numbers. So I think those are specific brands. We're not even going to dive into that section. And just a quick note on usage. This keyword here is sort of grayed out, and it's 20. That's the last time it was refreshed, but that was a little while ago, back on January 12th, 2021. That's the little pop-up. So if I click on it, it'll refresh and tell me that now it's at 12. So very interesting. I would actually, so we're diving into a different area here. So we have the In-Text Excursion Pro, 4,900 searches per month. It has a keyword difficulty of 12. And when we look at the SERPs over here, and again, this is kind of why I like KWFinder, we have the SERPs listed right here. We can see the historical data and the number of searches. So there were a lot of searches back in July of 2020. Here we are, we're ramping up, and this keyword's about to blow up. If anyone does have a water sports site, there's a good chance you could probably rank for this keyword, because we can see paddleventure.com has a link profile strength, which is a proprietary KWFinder metric of 13. It appears that they have 0 links pointing to it. Their DA is 9. And guess what? If you publish something on this topic, there's a good chance you'd rank up here. If you got a couple backlinks to it, maybe you have an existing site, you could rank for it. As we scroll down, we see just, fairly low DAs. One issue with this type of keyword, it is not as buyer focused. A lot of times when people search for this, they may not be doing research specifically. They just want to buy it. And that's why we see Amazon ranking number 1. We have the company In-Text Corp in the 2 and 3 position before we have any of the reviews. So just a quick note, but if you publish something, you'd probably rank for it. Okay, so that also is a kind of a key thing to point out. So you may have noticed that I was showing you this demo and I'm going through it, and then I got distracted by some cool keywords and additional data. I was surprised to see how low competition some of this stuff was. For me personally, keyword research is me going off in a direction, pulling on a thread. I see, In-Text Excursion Pro looks interesting. And then I see that paddleventure.com and Humble Sport are both sort of young websites, or at least sites with not that many backlinks. And then I go check those sites out, and then I go look to see what other content they have. Because if Paddleventure is ranking for this term in position number 4 with a DA of 9, that means they're probably ranking for some other really low competition keywords. So you should follow those interesting threads, and you may end up in some different area than you thought. You may end up on a tangent, and go with it. Take those notes. Once you figure out that you've gone on the tangent and you need to recenter, go back, refocus on the thing that you were looking up, and then you will recall that we were looking for best inflatable kayak. So we're going to come over here and we're going to type in best, and then click go. And then I'll show you another great trick. So in this case, we have best inflatable kayak and then a bunch of related keywords. So we'll see some like best inflatable canoe. Those are related. Those are related. and they potentially can live on the same site. We have some more specific criteria like inflatable 2-person kayak. And what I like to do, just to sort of skip ahead to perhaps one of the more interesting things here, I'm going to show you, if you use the autocomplete feature, we're going to end up with some of the forms of keywords that I really love, which is best product type for a specific application or a user type or something like that. So you end up with long tail keywords that are quite specific, and oftentimes it helps you build topical relevancy around that area. So let's click autocomplete, which it will take a moment or two. Oh, that was really fast. So we have 25 different options here. And the thing is, these are going to be much lower search volumes than the main keyword. So best inflatable kayak is reporting 9,100 searches per month versus the 9,900 over on Ubersuggest. So they're pretty close, but they're off, and their estimates are using different either input data or different algorithms to figure it out. So in this case, we have some keywords that I would potentially throw out unless it was relevant, but best inflatable kayak Australia, well, obviously it's more geographically noted here than anything else, but it does get 10 searches per month. I'm going to focus on some of the specific product related keywords. So air pump, that searched for 10 times per month, which may seem small, but there's a lot of other long tail keywords that could be related to it. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't go for it. So here we see the KD number is 17. So relatively low competition. They say it's still easy. There's not much search history for this one. And we can see, the top 3 sites have relatively low DAs, 21 or lower. There's some other sites that have maybe a little stronger, but overall this is pretty easy to rank. Jason JYH says, does KWFinder use backlinks only to derive its keyword difficulty score? That's how most tools do it. I don't know exactly. So generally, yes, though, Jason. I know that the LPS, that's the link profile strength, is essentially looking at the specific backlink profile for each one of the results shown in the SERP overview. And then I'm pretty sure, and I think the documentation on KWFinder reflects this, the KD, the keyword difficulty, is based on the LPS. So the KD is based on the LPS, keyword difficulty based on the link profile strength, which is based on the backlinks. So I'm not sure what other criteria. I suspect they take into account the DA, the PA, the CF, and the TF for the link profile strength, and then they end up with one number, and then they summarize. One could imagine that when you're making those generalizations and you're trying to come up with a single number to represent the link profile strength, and then come up with a single number where you summarize all of that data into a single number, you are generalizing in a way that you throw away the nuance, you get rid of some of the other valuable information in order to make a quick assessment based on the KD number. That is one of the flaws with all these KD number values. That said, I have found that KWFinder provides a little bit more of a true difficulty for the keywords that I often target. So let's look at a couple others. I'm going to come back and answer some questions. I do need to let my voice rest for a minute here, so I'm going to roll a pre-recorded spot in just a moment. But let's look at best inflatable angler kayak. Angler, this is for fishing, folks. So best angler kayak has a 25. It's telling us no one's searching for it. All right. It says no one's searching for this, but this is Google autocomplete. What does that mean? We know that someone's searching for it because Google is automatically completing it. They're telling us that people are searching for it. So we have here best inflatable angler kayak 25. We see kayak angler mag, link profile strength of 15, some higher DAs in here, but there's kind of a mix, a little bit of a mix. Let's look at one more. Oh, best inflatable kayak for big guys. So that's 20 searches per month. And it looks like recently my account over here at KWFinder, I think they changed the payment structure and I haven't updated it. So here we are. How embarrassing on a live stream. So we have for big guys, and we see there's 20 searches per month. And it's funny, we ran out of searches over here on KWFinder before we did over on Ubersuggest. But let's look at this one. I'm going to copy it here. And then we'll search for it right here. Paste that right in there. Okay, so let's look at the parking meters. This is probably one of the most fun things that you could watch someone do, is try to verify things. Oh, is there other parking meters in here? Oh, is that one? All right. So we see best inflatable kayak for big guys. The volume is 0. The SEO difficulty is 4. Best inflatable kayak for a tall person, 30 search volume and a 19. So we could take a quick look at some of the search results here so we have a little bit of an idea what's going on. And please do go in there and ask some questions. We're going to hop back in there in a second. James says that I bought an Intex K2 recently. It's fun for the money. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, there's some lakes around here. And I live close by where I can walk to where there's a river and I see people floating down. Sometimes I let Georgie hop in there. And while this thing's thinking, I'm going to get a quick word from our sponsor, ODYS Global, ODYS, and I'm going to highlight for you a specific aged domain. So let's check it out here. Our featured domain today from ODYS Global is greenerdesign.com, and ODYS, ODYS, is the source. It is my source for aged domains with strong branding and powerful backlinks. Greenerdesign.com was a site dedicated to the environment and sustainability, and it featured news and resources that aim to educate companies around green initiatives as well as to improve their environmental performance. So it's obviously a growing industry. And the cool thing is this domain is actually from way back in 2006. So it's 15 years old, if I'm doing my math right. The domain rating is currently, right now, when I checked it just a minute ago, is about 24, as reported by Ahrefs, and the domain authority, I think, is about 26 when I checked. And of course, Greener Design is a great brandable name. There's some sort of rich keywords in there as well. And I think it's not only a growing industry, but the links that this site has are actually pretty amazing overall. I'm going to just tell you a few of them in a second here. But when you go check out Ahrefs, if you have sort of a premium account, you'll be able to go and look deep in their paid account, I guess is the right name. And I did go check out over on the Wayback Machine what is sort of available and going on there. Not that you would recreate everything, but the interesting part was, and I haven't seen this before, but there were over 2,600 different captures, and the majority of them looked to be around 2010 to 2015. And this is something I haven't seen before. There are actually multiple samples or whatever, multiple captures, I think is the nomenclature over the Wayback Machine, per day during that period. So there are so many pieces of content that are shown over here on the Wayback Machine. And you can imagine like a lot of sites from way back in 2006 that it looks kind of old. It's funny how things change, how design changes, but it has a ton of content. Let's look at some of these referring domains out there. So I looked at DoFollow referring domains, and I sorted it by the domain rating. CNN.com, Fast Company, The Atlantic, Fortune, How Stuff Works, Salon, PopSci, Mother Jones, blogs.com, Sierra Club, GreenBiz, Orange.com, jamesbeard.org. The list goes on. It is absolutely insane the number of backlinks that this site has that are DoFollow. And it's actually a little bit surprising that the domain rating is only 24, but I think part of that might be the number of sites that some of the linking sites actually link to. So that was a rough sentence where I used the word link several times, but the point is like CNN.com has many links going out of there. So maybe there's not as much power versus some of the others, but the fact is there's a ton of great links going to this site. It's not getting any traffic right now. There's just a landing page, but there is a, huge amount of information over on the Wayback Machine that you could check out. Now, as far as monetization, I think you have a ton of options here. So you can have ads, and I think you can also have some affiliate. So those are pretty the basic things that we would look at anyway. But of course, I can elaborate a little bit on that. So number one, I think you could put a lot of information about how to have a green company, for example, or have certain green initiatives, which is really in line with some of the content that was on this site before. But you could also do that on the domestic level. So in our homes, I know probably 3 times a week, there's some people walking around the neighborhood, knocking on doors, going door to door, trying to sell solar panels, which are extremely popular here in the area that I live, sort of near the Rocky Mountains. There's a lot of sun. It's very clear most of the time. So a lot of houses have solar panels, and there are obviously a lot of companies that would want to have those leads sent to them so you could work with a solar installation company. But I also have some friends like my buddy Carl. He's going to be installing solar panels himself and sort of doing a lot of the electrical work himself, which is a little, interesting. Not everyone would want to do that, but you could also have DIY style content. Of course, you would have to have someone qualified or someone who did a great deal of research to understand the things that would be needed. But the fact is, there's a lot of components. There's a lot of other things that you need, even if you're going to do it yourself. So in fact, you could have digital products that you create, or I assume they're out there somewhere, and you could be an affiliate for those digital products where essentially you would teach someone how to maybe install a solar panel, or maybe you want to capture rainwater and have barrels outside your house so that you could water your plants. So you can see this sort of green idea is really is almost unlimited, and this is a huge growing market. I think it'd be a great place to go, and hell, I may get it myself. So go take a look over at ODYS. Go take a look over at ODYS Global. I got to get the sponsor's name right. ODYS. If you join using my affiliate link, you can get $100 into your account. I very much appreciate it. If you buy something, I might get a little commission or something like that. I'll probably buy a beer, most likely, if I had to guess what I would do with a few bucks. But check out ODYS Global. I really appreciate them sponsoring. So even if you're not going to buy something today, maybe you just want to browse around and buy a domain in the future, go over there, let them know that you are happy that they're supporting me, live streams. They're doing some stuff with podcast as well. So really do appreciate it. And let's get back to the show. All right, I'm back. And yeah, there were a couple conversations over in the chat. Someone kept saying they like your hair, and there's some debate. Maybe it was my hair, maybe it was someone, but Ram also mentioned there's always someone spamming. What the fuck? Yeah, that's what I say too. And you know what? It's impossible for me to tell the person's intentions. And I've done, well, some of the newer viewers here, you may not know, I've done hundreds of live streams. I started sometime in, it was either 2016 or 2017, and I just started showing up. Sometimes there would just be one or two people, and I just committed to continue to do the live stream. So over time, I've developed some, I would say, thick skin for spamming in the chat. And, you know, I can deal with it a little bit, but also I would say I rule with an iron fist over there. So some people, you know, you just get banned from the channel because I don't have the time to deal with nonsense. So couple things. I don't know how to say the person's name. It's just like 3 pipe marks next to it, but she has red hair here in the chat, I believe. It looks red. So it's kind of small, but in the little thing that I see here. But basically, someone asked about the good old the gift niche, and it can be a competitive one. Someone does mention that you have to look at specific gift ideas based on competition. And I was going to mention that a few weeks ago, someone said, hey, can you check out this site? It looks like it's getting a lot of traffic. And the person, I guess, knew that it was owned by someone that was making like 400K per year from this site. I don't remember what it was. It was something gift.co. So if anyone does happen to remember it, we can take a quick look. All right, we can take a quick look over there. Now, before we finish up, well, we're not close to finishing specifically, but I was going to say I'll answer some more questions. I want to ask everyone. So number one, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You know, makes me feel nice and everything. But the other thing, even more important, you know what? If you don't want to subscribe, that's cool. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email address. I'll send you all the templates that I use, some other helpful tools. Additionally, you can go over to the /FAQ section. So nichesiteproject.com/FAQ. There's tons of frequently asked questions. I think there's something like 30 of them there. Questions that, well, they're asked frequently. So you may wonder about them. And even if you haven't asked those questions or thought about them yet yourself, you may see a question that gets you thinking in a different direction. So go check them out. I appreciate it if you do. I have a shitload of videos out here. Just have a look. I don't run ads on 90% of my videos. There's a couple that I think are still turned on, but I don't run ads there. So if you do see ads, I didn't put them there. If you see ads on a video, most likely Google has put it there. They sent out some information recently, and I'm pretty sure it said they're going to put ads wherever the fuck they want. So you know what? I'm just happy to be here. All right, so we'll answer a few questions. Go to Niche Site Project. That's the point. If you like listening to me talk, I have a podcast. It's called The Doug Show. Talk about the same topics, and it's a little more intimate. I talk about other stuff. I talk about a lot of the same things. But yeah, check it out. Check it out. All right, Daphina. Daphina is the person in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions here. We're going to go through, and I'm gonna head over to the chat. See, I'm gonna go back to a certain point. So if I didn't get to your question, ask it again just once, and then we're gonna hit them going through here. So Ram said, hey, I have a site, I have a keyword idea, but it has 100 searches per month. Should I write a post on the keyword? Sure, go for it. That's one of these common questions that I answer over on Niche Site Project. And then we have Ram also says, a niche site seems competitive where micro niche can be less competitive, and I don't have a huge budget for marketing, so I need to make money to invest. Okay, fair enough. Quick tip, Ram, because I asked Ram, hey, why are you doing a micro niche site? Why are you limiting yourself? The idea here is to start a site, brand it in a way that allows you to expand in the future. So don't do a micro niche site and call it bestinflatableKayakPaddles.com because you've painted yourself in a corner. Just go with like, watersportnut.com. Start with the inflatable kayak paddles first and then expand. Don't limit yourself because of where you are right now. Give yourself the option in the future to grow. That's the idea here. I'm not just shitting on micro niche sites. Yeah, I guess I am. So fuck those micro niche sites. Like, just make sure you don't paint yourself in the corner so you don't end up in a year when you realize, oh, it worked, and now you're thinking, well, now I have to start another site, or now I have to migrate everything over to a different domain name. Just give yourself flexibility. That's the big thing. Whatever you're working on, give yourself flexibility. Smart Study, what's up? Abed, what's going on? Someone has a Google My Business account suspended. Can you give me your favors for this? And I don't know anything about them. This is a cool photo, by the way. A nice bokeh back there. Really nice, really nice looking image. All right. We're going through. All right. And Shadnon was just being friendly, probably talking about someone else's hair, which is fine. Lovepreet says, how do we work on a saturated niche like weight loss? Well, I would suggest focusing in very closely on something niche, like how to lose weight for a very specific sort of thing, like how to lose weight for obese cats, for example. And then you can give tips on how you can exercise the cats. Maybe you help them swim, right? Actually, let's combine the ideas. Best inflatable kayak for cats. You have to worry about their little sharp claws and puncturing the vessel. You don't want to do that, especially if you're out in the ocean. Could you imagine bringing a cat in the ocean on a fucking kayak? That is insane. That's crazy. So anyway, you do have to research these keywords. That's a perfect example, right? You think, hey, no one has written any content on inflatable kayaks for cats yet. It's completely open. And sure, you could probably rank number one for it. No one's searching for that. Very few people. Very few. You know what? There's probably a couple people I have seen. There's some folks around here that have harnesses for their cat that go walk around and stuff. So Rom says, what do I think about drop shipping? It's fine. I don't do anything related to it, but I have some friends that make a lot of money. I encourage you, Rom, when we finish up here, go to my channel, search for drop shipping. There's a couple awesome stories. Some people do high ticket drop shipping, and they've made it really successful using the same ideas for getting traffic as these affiliate sites that I work on. And then I have a friend named Duke who he had an affiliate site or two, was successful with those, and he then converted it to also earn from drop shipping. So he called up the specific companies he was working with. He worked out and negotiated specific deals for a drop shipping model, and he went from making $4,000 to $5,000 per month to like $13,000 per month. Bottom line profit, not top line revenue. So drop shipping is fine. And here's the other thing. Drop shipping is fine. Start a YouTube channel. Start a blog. You can do a podcast. You can do Amazon FBA. You can run a content agency. You can do a link building agency. You can buy aged domains and then resell them. All right. Almost any business model. If you see a business online that's running and you see some competitors, that's proving the business model. If you want to do one of those, it will probably work. What doesn't work is if you do drop shipping for a little while and then you do like a micro niche site and then you're like, fuck, I want to do a podcast, and then you just jump around every 6 weeks or 6 months. You're just going to keep jumping around. So almost anything can work. All right. Hasim says, I got an email that you stated that you're hiring someone for regular KGR work. I don't think that email was from me. So may want to double check that. And I did recently hire someone for some copywriting work. And if you did not get hired, then and I didn't reply back, then you didn't get hired, and I went with a different candidate. So that's one of the things. I mean, I replied back to the top candidates, but if you submitted something and you didn't hear back, then you didn't get the job. So it's one of those things. I mean, it was like I was treating it like a real job. So I appreciated everyone who took the time to reply back. And if you were a top runner, then I'll let you know. So, and I see we still have quite a few people on. I want to mention that we're actually wrapping up. I will answer some questions here, but if you're just hopping on or you didn't watch the whole thing, go back to the beginning and I kind of lay out the process for, in a step-by-step fashion, finding a niche, doing a little preliminary research, getting inspired, using a tool that's free like Uber suggests, and then using something like KWFinder where you have more flexibility and capabilities and all that stuff. So thanks everyone for hopping on. I definitely appreciate it. So we're moving through. So Lovepreet says, I'm a medical student and I can write on health and weight loss, but it's occupied with big DA sites. Okay. I honestly will, I would generally recommend to stay away. Personally, that's what I do. I stay away from health or weight loss or like financial advice or any of those ultra competitive areas and areas where Google has kind of cracked down in the past with the expertise, authority, and trust, the EAT sort of update and series of updates. So just a tip. And I would say, if you want to go for it, if you want to go with weight loss and it's competitive and all that stuff, then just know it's going to take a little longer. You're going to have to work to establish the expertise. And I would potentially interview either, via text, via email. You could do phone interviews if you want, but interview experts that can bring expertise to your site. Plus, they would potentially be able to share it. So let's say, you're studying medical science, so maybe you can interview colleagues who have blogs on their .edu or other university sites. You can interview them. Maybe they write on their website, hey, I was interviewed by Lovepreet, and here it is. So you can get links, and then you're getting links from these experts. So that, I believe, should help overall. It may take a little while to establish that expertise, but if you're going to school for it anyway, you're studying for it anyway, then you're probably going to be working in that industry and you have a longer timeline, which is great. Entrepreneur says, what should be the ratio of articles, info versus best for why? So I'm just going to summarize the best for why as affiliate review type content. I would say at least have 50-50. If not more informational content. All right, let's start wrapping it up. I think we have quite a few questions here. I'm going to wrap it up quick. I got to have a sip of coffee here. I should have brought some water down too. Shadnan says, I'm thinking to start a blog about golf. It's seasonal. What do I think? Sure, go for it. It's a great sort of niche where people are passionate about. Bonnie, good to have you on. I really appreciate you hopping on today. Hope you're well. All right. Minaj says, Is B2B physical product good for affiliate? I don't know specifically, but if you can find keywords around it and or you have a mechanism to insert yourself in that B2B area, then it could be. Now, I can tell you, right? So I do, I guess, sort of B2B affiliate marketing through some of the tools and services that I promote. So that could be like ODYS, right? ODYS global. So that's sort of a B2B. They sell to other businesses, even if they're, side hustlers and small businesses. So yeah, it can be great for affiliate. And oh yeah, I'm glad someone called it out. So CB says snowman. Yep. So my shirt here, for the people that are in the know here, I'll stand here. So these are snowmen, of course, and I think I could actually zoom in on. It's getting real here. It says, in the end, the greatest snowball isn't a snowball at all. It's fear. That's Dwight Schrute. So, I think the people that know already know, but would love to see comments and or people in the chat revealing what this is all about. Fantastic, fantastic quote. It's a very comfy shirt. And it's very hot today. It's like over 90 degrees today. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear this nice shirt with snowmen on it. Ram says, which hosting do you recommend? I would go with Bluehost most likely. I used to be an affiliate forum, and I bet you could find an affiliate link around here somewhere. But Ram, shoot me an email, please, doug@nichesiteproject.com. And I have a different recommendation. It's MDD hosting, but I can give you a little bit more on that in a second, or whenever you email me. Basically, it's going to be cheaper, and they are very fast. This is where I host Niche Site Project. So Ram, for example, go speed test Niche Site Project for like Google PageSpeed Insight. You can check one of the inner pages, not just the home page, and just see how well it does. And I use MDD hosting. I use SiteGround as well, but I try to mix it up a little bit. Lovepreet says, can we combine human weight loss and animal weight loss in the same site? I mean, every combination of weight loss is okay. I'm just kidding around. I think you may want to focus in a little bit different. Dan says, best niche to start if you're a newbie. I don't know. So you'll have to figure, it'll be different for everyone. I would recommend something that you're into personally, but also rewind and watch the beginning of this video. All right. And Dan says, a good course for affiliate marketing. So I have a course, it's multi-profit site, and you could shoot me an email, doug@nichesiteproject.com, if you want to know more about it. CB says, what camera, light, and mic are you using? Thanks. I'm using a Canon EOS RP with a Sigma 18-35 1.8 lens. I have an adapter on there so that it'll work. And then I have a couple cheap lights here that are, I think they were $70. It's about, I think it's 800 equivalent watts. They're fluorescent. I can hold it up. And then I have a Audio-Technica 2100 old school. So the light is this big guy right here, but yeah, it's pretty cheap. Shine it back there. And I have another light that's like a smaller panel that doesn't take up as much space, but I'm down in the basement now, so I have a little bit more room, and then I can use that other light as needed. Thanks. I have worked pretty hard on getting this going as far as the quality. All right. Oh, Rom says you should start a Discord server. So one thing that when I'm not good at community, I'm not a good member of a community, and I'm not good at running them. And I think other people have Discord sites, but you know what? I like to not sit in front of the computer in general. And the reason why I do some of this, is the reason why I do this stuff, so I can go outside and do other stuff. So I spend as little time in front of here as possible. So Discord server sounds like not fun to me. Not fun at all. I'm weird though. I'm pretty weird. All right, we're getting kind of close, but this is awesome. I'm glad we have a lot more folks on these days. Veronica says, if you have an in-house team and you can manage to produce 10 articles a day, what do you suggest? Start one site and upload all of them to one website, or we distribute to 2 or 3 websites? What are your thoughts? Veronica, what I would do is, if you don't know, if you haven't been successful, like if you don't know what you're doing yet, then I would just focus on one site. The problem is, if you, let's say you do it, you publish 10 articles a day across 3 sites. If you do this for a month and then you discover that you've made a mistake in the way that you're formatting your content, maybe in the way that you're using subheadings, if you make a mistake and you've just scaled it across 3 different sites, it's going to suck, and it's going to take a little while for you to fix, and you're going to be disappointed. It'll suck to do that work. So if you don't know what you're doing yet, do not scale yet. I think it's Bill Gates has a quote, which I'm sure he copied it from somewhere else in some capacity. But if you scale an inefficient process, you're just multiplying that inefficient process over and over again. You've just created a fucking problem. So just focus on one site, and I perhaps would encourage you to not do 10 right away. Even though you could do 10 articles a day, maybe you do less as you ramp up. And that's, one of the issues I used to do software project management. One of the issues with a waterfall method is you do all of your requirements first, and then you move on to tech requirements, and then you move on to coding and developing the software, and then you test it, and then you have the users test it. And it turns out they made a mistake back in the business requirements section. So if you have to go back and fix everything along the way, it's far more expensive than if you catch it early. So it's great to have those users work alongside and maybe test earlier. And that's why, Agile project management is effective. It's not perfect, but you can use ideas from it and come out ahead. All right, I'm talking too long here. Let's do it. Ali says, doing keyword research, came across how some low competition keywords, but analyzing the SERP shows there's big sites that cover the keywords in subfolders and high on top. Is there any threshold in terms of KD and other Google rankings when doing keyword research? Yeah, so I think, Ali, you have the right idea. You got to go look at it specifically with your own eyes. The tools can help you prioritize. The keyword difficulty will help you prioritize. You can sort them that way, and then you go back and you could Google the term, see what's going on, and then you could take it from there. All right. Lovepreet, how do you search for unsaturated topics? So it's all relative. So I would say go back to the beginning of this video, watch how I sort of navigated around, and I talked about inflatable kayaks, right? I talked about inflatable kayaks, and then I talked about paddles for kayaks. So we're moving into an uncompetitive area because very few people are writing about it. Very few people are searching for it, but you're giving yourself the option to grow in the future. So just think about it that way, in the sort of sense of, unsaturated. You don't want to be in something that's too unsaturated because no one's there. No, it's not profitable. So there's a balance, and you actually want to see some competition, because if you're the first person in the market, then it's a little bit weird and you're going to have to do a lot of education. My example would be the keyword golden ratio. So it wasn't a thing, and I had to talk about it for a very long time before anyone paid attention. Nadia Jones says, am I a Project 24 member? No, I am not. I am, I'm sort of independent, although I'm familiar with the income school folks. All right, as we are scrolling down here, Ron will send me an email. And I'm looking for more questions. Thanks everyone for hopping on. And if you haven't signed up for my email list, ninjasiteproject.com, and then just you click the green button, enter your name and email. I send you all my templates. I send you the keyword golden ratio calculator and several other things, including templates on like how to hire people, templates for content, and tons of other stuff. Mohammed says, my site has 150 articles. Most are ranking in the top 30 positions. You're making $200 a month. How to push all the keywords to page one. All right. Yeah. So that's a crazy question. So honestly, even if you gave me the site and you gave me unlimited budget and unlimited time, I don't know if I could get all the keywords to page one. The reason why is there's so many variables. Now, a better question than how can I get all the keywords to page one is how can I rank better just in general? And for that, I'm going to push you towards my YouTube channel. Just search for it, how to rank better. And on my channel, you'll probably find a couple videos. You could also go to Niche Site Project. I've covered the topic before. But overall, you can improve the content, maybe add some FAQs. You can also get some backlinks. So I have a hunch most people don't have nearly enough backlinks. And I come from the camp where it's, I like backlinks. I think they're a really good idea. And Caitlin, what's going on? Caitlin, shoot me an email. I have a question for you. And you said it's been a while. Your daughter was getting surgery. Hope she's doing all right. Yeah, things are good here. And you missed it, Caitlin. I think it was last week. I had Matt over. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. Anyway, Matt was over. We were having beers. Hopefully you got to see that. All right. And Ram says, I'm not good at running communities, and I'm not good with forums. I'm actually a paid member for multiple communities, and I rarely interact. I just don't go in and type. I just don't interact at all. Oh, and CB says you're in the UK, so you only get the original Ricky Gervais office quotes. Very good. Respect on that. All right. Charles says, how can you find good KGR keywords for a specific product? You find it difficult. So you just got to dig in and keep looking. So it could be that there's not very many of them, but the best way to get started, I think, is probably auto-suggest, auto-complete, and go from there. So that's probably going to be the best bet. You're probably going to be able to find keywords with very low search volume, probably zero search volume. So just don't worry about the KGR as much and just find auto-suggest keywords and don't worry about the search volume. Someone asks, is the pet niche good? Sure. All right. So here's the deal. If you ask if a certain niche is good, it's probably fine. The thing is, you have to do your own research. I can't I can't tell you whether or not a niche is good or not. That said, pet niche is pretty good. There's a lot of products and all that stuff. But the thing is, there's a lot of different factors. So I could tell you, hey, the pet niche is good, but maybe the keywords you found are super competitive and you go after the pet niche and you're not able to rank versus someone who finds other keywords that are very low competition. Minaj says, is space travel a good niche? I don't know. So I'm not really sure. As we are blasting through, Shahed, thanks for hopping on. Habib says, is KGR for AdSense website? Sure. Keyword golden ratio works for any kind of website, any kind of content. It is agnostic. It doesn't matter at all. It could be local, could be international, whatever. Edgar says, should I spend more money or time on links versus content? I know it's generic, but which way do you lean? So I answered this question in my podcast that's coming out tomorrow. So if you don't listen to the podcast, which I don't publish on YouTube, I don't publish everything on YouTube, I talk about this. In general, 50-50. I like to spend on both. So if you have to figure it out, just do 50-50. That's a good way to hedge, and over time, it should work out. Next, Rod says, should I do link building even if I'm ranking without it in the top 10 for 2 years? It is up to you. And let me ask you this. What if you ranked number 1 for some of the terms? There's a good chance your traffic will skyrocket. Now, I'm going to have to go here in a second, everyone, but I will pose this question and maybe people in the comments could type it in. But have you had a search term go from, say, the number 3 position to the number 1 position? If so, what happened to that traffic? Have you had something go from number 8 to number 2 and then to number 1? What happened to the traffic? It will absolutely blow you away when you see the difference that the number 1 position gets. So my question to you, Rod, is like, sure, you're getting by and you're ranking in the top 10 for 2 years with no link building. Holy shit. What if you ranked number 1 for a few of those terms? Not even that many, just a few of them. Your traffic is going to be dramatically higher. All right. Someone asked about how to create backlinks for micro niche news sites. Go Google or search on my channel just for building links. For news sites, I would personally probably aim for Haro link building. And then I would maybe try to do some guest posting, but that could be a little bit tough. All right. Well, that's it. Oh, CB says, are you on Clubhouse? And no, actually, I'm not. Again, just, it's not the same as a community, but I actually recorded a podcast episode where I talked about Clubhouse a little bit. So if you go to Doug's show and then search for Clubhouse, you'll find that. But I'm not interested in it at all. So I remember I heard someone I've been asked if I wanted to have an invite, and this is probably several months ago, back in like March-ish, and Clubhouse, someone was like, yeah, you hop on these calls and blah blah blah, and it's a great way to network. And this dude was telling me like all the great people he's met, and it turned out it was someone who he does a lot of like pretending to be an entrepreneur and not very much of entrepreneurship. So he doesn't, he spends a lot of time like building landing pages and like setting up his funnel and then building a full project plan, but he spends very little time executing. So I sort of had a bad impression of it because he was like, oh, it's a fun thing, but I've wasted a lot of hours on it. So you have to watch and make sure you get your work done and all that. And I didn't like the exclusivity where you had to get an invite. And I was like, you know what? This seems like a trick. I'm out. I don't want to sit on the fucking phone and listen to people talk. What am I going to do with that? It sounds boring. So yeah, I haven't interacted, and yeah. So I was like, I don't want an invite. I'm out. I don't care. So I have a feeling, and I've seen some stories reflect this, where the growth of Clubhouse has dropped, and I think other competitors are out there. So, and CB says, have you figured out how we could monetize Clubhouse? No clue. I don't participate. Low interest. And then CB says it's a time suck, which is what I thought it would end up being. So cool. This has been a great session. Thanks, everyone. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments. So I'm going to be shutting this baby down in 1 minute here. So I appreciate everybody hopping on. If you have other questions, if you have requests for other videos in the future, especially these live sessions, do let me know. It's been a pleasure. Everyone have a good day. Stay warm out there. Stay cool, whatever it may be. Wear masks if you need to, wherever you're at, or if you don't need to, don't wear a mask. So whatever, actually not medical advice. I'm just talking. We'll see you next week.